From the nation's capital, Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. A weekly discussion about the federal issues most important to Nevada. And now, from Washington, D.C., here's Marilee Joyce.
And good day to you. I'm Marilee Joyce, and this is Eye on Washington, the only statewide Nevada news program produced in Washington, D.C. Every week, Eye on Washington takes you straight to Capitol Hill for a discussion with Nevada's delegation and other leaders about the federal matters that matter to you. Today's topic, the growing state of adult obesity. We're going to tell you of a new report that shows a big gain in Nevadans tipping the scale. Well, my guest today knows a thing or two about how to trim back that number. She is Margo Wootan, the Director of Nutrition Policy for the Center of Science and the Public Interest. And thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you being here again. Well, Nevadans are getting fatter. That is the bottom line of a recent study that shows a big rise in those weighing much more than is healthy. And today on Eye on Washington, we'll tell you the fattening facts. We'll learn some of the causes of weight gain among Nevada adults, and we'll get my guest's take on what should be done on the Hill and in the state to help promote healthier living. Last fall, the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation released a study that should concern anyone who hopes to improve the chance of living a long life free of diet-caused disease. The foundation's The State of Obesity, Better Policies for a Healthier America report, which is a state-by-state study of obesity trends, shows Nevada's adult obesity rate has gone up considerably over recent years. Nevada now ranks 36th in the nation for obese adults. Not awful, I guess, when you consider there are 50 states, but alarming nonetheless when you see how much the rate has risen in so short a time period. Nevada's adult obesity rate currently is 26.7%. That's up from 16% in 2000 and from just 13.1% in 1995. Again, some states are much less healthy weight-wise than the Silver State. Adult obesity rates now exceed 35% in 4 states, 30% in 25 states, and are above 20% in all states. And Ms. Wootan, again, welcome back to Eye on Washington. It's great to have you here again. You know, Nevada could be worse, of course. We have Louisiana is the highest, and that's at 36.2%. Colorado, which always seems to be healthiest, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. It's down at 20.2%. But a rise like this, it's never good news, is it?
You know, there's more and more interest in healthy eating and physical activity, but when you look at our food surroundings, you can understand why it's still hard for people to manage their weight. Big portion sizes, food everywhere, candy at the checkout. It's just not easy to eat well in America today.
And it is alarming when you look at back in the 90s when it was only 13.1. It is a pretty dramatic rise and not very long of a time.
Absolutely. Our genes didn't change in that time. What's changed is the aggressive marketing of food everywhere in giant portion sizes, which really make it hard for us to eat well ourselves and to feed our families well.
We're going to get into the why it's bad to carry around that extra weight in general in our next segment. But I want to just ask you, you know, carrying a lot of extra weight in general, it can have bad health consequences, right?
Being overweight or obese is not a matter of how we look, though oftentimes we think of it as more of a vanity issue. It really is a matter of whether or not you get diabetes, heart disease, and even cancer. It really puts our health at risk, increases healthcare costs for us, for our families, for businesses. Sure. It has a significant public health effect.
You've been here before. Twice on Eye on Washington to talk about Nevada's growing problem with childhood obesity and the kind of the dangers and concerns around that problem. Neither childhood obesity nor adult obesity are good, of course, but how do your concerns differ as concerns each? Again, we don't want fat kids or fat adults ideally, but is it worse to hold on to the fat as you get older and are less able to move around?
It gets harder and harder to lose weight the older you are. It's a little easier for kids where they can still change their habits. Once you get into adulthood, it gets more and more difficult to lose that weight and to keep from continuing to gain it. It also is a more direct link sooner when you'll get diabetes and heart disease, high blood pressure, and see those negative health effects.
Now, as part of the reason it's harder to lose the weight, is it true what they say that your metabolism slows and also that your body you can't, as you were saying, you just can't run around the playground or the gym as easily. Your knees might be more sore, what have you. It's just, is it a little harder to lose the weight because you can't move as much, your metabolism's slower?
There's not a lot of physical activity built into most people's daily lives, right? They drive everywhere. We have a lot of conveniences that make life pleasurable, but at the same time, we are surrounded by a lot of food in big portion sizes. So that combination of not a lot of physical activity and too many calories are quite dangerous to our health.
Is it more the diet?
Physical activity?
No, is it more the diet affecting your weight? Then I have heard it's what you eat matters even more than the movement.
That's right. Both nutrition and physical activity are important, but how much we're eating, these big portion sizes, junk food everywhere, are a bigger driver of the high rates of obesity in the U.S.
Okay. And as she said, it's not all about aesthetics. The association between obesity and disease, we're going to have that right after this.
You're watching Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, brought to you by Caesars Entertainment, Las Vegas Sands Corporation, the Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County, NV Energy, Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, the Rogich Communications Group, and Jim Marsh Automotive.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions, and all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
Want more federal news that affects Nevada, its businesses, and its residents? Then you need to subscribe to Nevada's Washington Watch newsletter, your sole source of online news direct from Washington, D.C. Visit joycecommunications.com and subscribe today.
Planet Hollywood, Paris, Harrah's, Caesar's Palace. It's one of the most exciting skylines in the world, Las Vegas. Caesars Entertainment has nearly 50 casinos worldwide, including these. But no matter which casino you visit, we want you to play responsibly. And if you need help setting or keeping a limit, we hope you'll call this number. You see, we know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
Mom.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who wants to care of you.
Help Nevada Humane Society save the lives of orphan kittens by becoming a foster care volunteer. Over 2,000 kittens a year need temporary care.
These kittens need food and personal attention until they're old enough for adoption. Foster care is fun, rewarding, and truly saves lives.
I love fostering. I have fostered almost 50 kittens so far, and it is so rewarding.
If you can foster kittens for a few weeks, we can find them homes for life. To learn how you can become a foster care volunteer, call or visit Nevada Humane Society.
And welcome back to Eye on Washington, our discussion of the growing problem of obesity in Nevada. My guest today is Margo Wootan, the Director of Nutrition Policy for the Center for Science in the Public Interest. Well, when you're in line at the grocery store, all the magazines at checkout, they push diet and exercise to lose the belly and look better. But as top nutritionists like my guest, Ms. Wootan, would tell us, it's about a lot more than being thin and attractive. It could be about your very life. That Robert Johnson Wood Foundation study I mentioned earlier has some other stats that might cause you to forego that second helping. According to its recently released The State of Obesity, Better Policies for a Healthier America report, if you're obese, you have more to worry about than shopping in the plus-size department. Obesity-related diseases and conditions are what you need to care most about. I'm talking about diabetes, arthritis, heart disease, stroke, and other life-shortening or ending problems. The study says nearly 10% of Nevada adults have diabetes, making it 29th in the nation for the disease. The state's on track to have more than 311,000 cases by 2030 at the current pace. Hypertension plagues 28.3% of Nevada adults, actually very low considered compared to other states, ranking at 47th, but on track to have more than 663,000 by 2030. And just some by 2030 stats for you, all obesity related. The study says heart disease, more than 702,000 Nevada adults will have it. And the obesity-related cancer stats, nearly 100,000. Arthritis, 430,000 plus. Again, Ms. Wootan, we want that dream bod, but it is more about fitting into the skinny jeans, isn't it? It could be about your life.
You know, most of the time when people think about, should I eat this or that, they really are more thinking about how they're going to look, when actually what you eat determines whether or not you go blind, lose a limb, end up not being able to live independently from the diabetes, the heart disease, stroke, and cancer that poor nutrition causes. Most of us know we should eat better, but we don't realize just how huge an impact it has on our health and our quality of life.
You know, again, most of the magazine covers are about the aesthetics, and I guess if it gets you to the gym, if it gets you to cut down your portions, that's helpful in a way, but you do need the knowledge really is power, though, when it comes to the bigger whys of losing the weight, right?
Absolutely. And it turns out, because oftentimes people are thinking more about how it looks, you see more women dieting than men, when actually men are at even higher risk of diabetes and heart attack at younger ages.
You know, I know you have programs in schools to try to reach out to fat kids and help, you know, diminish those numbers, but how does the Center for Science and the Public Interest, how do you reach out to adults with your message of why they need to take off that high weight?
So one thing we've worked on is try to get calorie labeling in restaurants so that when you eat out, you can see that one entree uses up half your day's calories, or one meal can blow your whole calories for the whole day. Unfortunately, one day before it was supposed to go into effect, those rules were repealed and delayed for another year.
Was that this past spring?
That was just, yes, this spring. So one day before people were going to get this great new tool to make better decisions in chain restaurants and for the prepared foods and convenience stores and supermarkets, the industry lobbied very aggressively to get that requirement delayed. And now they're working very hard lobbying Congress to get it weakened.
So this federal change might not occur at all, or might just be in a much weaker form?
At the very best, it would go into effect next May in 2018, but in that year, the industry, especially convenience stores and supermarkets, are lobbying Congress very aggressively to roll it back.
And how might that have helped someone going into a restaurant when they are reading labels on products, et cetera, when they're...
A lot of times it's not obvious that there are huge calorie differences between options. If you get the French fries instead of the onion rings, that can save you 300 calories. In one supermarket recently, I saw the cheese pizza and the pepperoni pizza were about the same, whereas the buffalo chicken pizza had 300 more calories. Chocolate chip muffin, 400 calories more than a blueberry muffin. So it's not always obvious.
Does it tell you the fat grams as well?
Right next to the item, it has the calories. Then if you need the saturated fat, if you have high cholesterol or the sodium for high blood pressure, that information is also available upon request.
Okay. When we return, an update on something Ms. Wootan and I have discussed previously on my show, and that's obesity among Nevada's children. We're going to have an update for you right after this.
Nevada's direct link to Capitol Hill. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, the only statewide Nevada news show based in Washington, D.C. All the top federal matters that matter most to Nevadans. Marilee talks with our congressional delegation and other leaders about the federal news you need to know. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, Nevada's Eye on Capitol Hill.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in. when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions. And all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
We're not a miracle drug. We're not a technology. We're not doctors. Just the hope, which can often be the best cure of all. The Ronald McDonald House, a home away from home for seriously ill children and their families.
Planet Hollywood, Paris, Harrah's, Caesar's Palace. It's one of the most exciting skylines in the world, Las Vegas. Caesars Entertainment has nearly 50 casinos worldwide, including these. But no matter which casino you visit, we want you to play responsibly. And if you need help setting or keeping a limit, we hope you'll call this number. You see, we know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. How could you not love him?
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions. And all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
And welcome back to Eye on Washington, our discussion of a large concern, obesity in Nevada. We've been visiting with Margo Wootan, the Director of Nutrition Policy for the Center for Science in the Public Interest. Now, earlier this year, Ms. Wootan was here for the second time to discuss an issue that might be a lot more alarming than even the growing girth among Nevada adults, and that is the serious issue of childhood obesity in the state. Eye on Washington reported to you then that Nevada was 16th in the nation for obese kids. That high ranking translates to 33% of children ages 2 to 19 dealing with this health-threatening condition. Let me make clear that we are talking about these kids being obese, not merely overweight. In 2015, KUNR quoted Dr. Stephanie Wright, a physician at the University of Nevada School of Medicine, saying children who are overweight or obese are at greater risk for a variety of very serious diseases, including high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and obstructive sleep apnea, bone and joint aches, and even pains at this young age. And as my guest, Ms. Wootan, told us during that program, there are myriad reasons for the rise in childhood obesity in Nevada as well as across the nation, but the top contributors are too much video game, too little activity, supersize everything, leading to too many calories in general, and too much sugar, not enough vegetables in particular. So Ms. Wootan, we should back up a moment and let us tell you what percentage of body fat classifies you as just overweight versus obese.
So one thing is with parents, you know, we love our kids and we tend not to see them as overweight or obese. So your best bet is when you take your child to the doctor each year, have them measure their height and weight, and then they plot it on a growth chart and they can tell you where they fit, if they're overweight or obese, and that will put them at risk for obesity later in life. The sooner kids start to become overweight, the more likely they are to stay that way and then to grow into obesity as they get older.
How do calculations differ for a growing child versus an adult?
For children, there are growth charts where the estimates are made. For adults, you can go online and look for what's called a BMI calculator. It stands for Body Mass Index. Go to a site you can trust like the American Heart Association or the National Institutes of Health and just type in your height and weight and it'll tell you whether or not you're overweight or obese. And that will give you important information to then begin to work on this. personally, but also politically, because our food environment really drives us to eat much more than most of us want to, right? Most of us don't actively choose to be overweight. We don't say like, oh, I really hope I'll put on 10 pounds before the summer. This is something that's happening to us as a society, and we need to work together.
And when you say drive you politically, we are, of course, a show that focuses on how federal issues affect the states. What can be done both by our congressional delegation, specifically Nevada's congressional delegation, and the Congress in general and the administration to sort of curb both childhood and adult obesity?
Eating out is a big driver, and so we need that calorie labeling so that we can make informed decisions and encourage restaurants to put healthier options on the menu. Also, the administration is talking about delaying some important changes to the nutrition facts that you see on packaged foods, delaying it for 3 more years. The Congress can tell the administration they don't want that to happen. People want added sugars, labeling, and they want the calories bolder on nutrition facts packages right now. And also, don't roll back school nutrition standards, which are working really well in schools across the country, and this administration has proposed weakening them.
And meanwhile, groups like yours, the Center for Science and the Public Interests and others, without this legislation going through, you are working hard and advocating and fighting in your own ways. Remind us some of the work, first of all, in Nevada and other schools to help the children, and some of your other work in general we haven't gotten to that are working to curb obesity.
Kids do a lot of their eating during the school day, and so we've been working to improve the nutritional quality of school lunch and breakfast and the snacks that are available through vending machines. And so parents can get involved in their own school and make sure that they're following the updated standards. Also, just sometimes nutrition can be confusing, and it's good to have a go-to source like the Center for Science and the Public Interest. We're like America's food watchdog. You want to know, is coconut oil better than canola? You want to know what's the latest, most up-to-date nutrition information? You can trust our scientists to give you the facts that will help you make better decisions for yourself and for your kids.
Okay. And when we return, it is daunting to start a new healthy way of living, but we have a cheat sheet sitting right next to me. We're going to have Ms. Wootan's steps for getting back to a healthy weight. That's coming up next.
Planet Hollywood, Paris, Harrah's, Caesar's Palace. It's one of the most exciting skylines in the world, Las Vegas. Caesars Entertainment has nearly 50 casinos worldwide, including these. But no matter which casino you visit, we want you to play responsibly. And if you need help setting or keeping a limit, we hope you'll call this number. You see, we know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
Nevada's direct link to Capitol Hill. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. The only statewide Nevada news show based in Washington, D.C. All the top federal matters that matter most to Nevadans. Marilee talks with our congressional delegation and other leaders about the federal news you need to know. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. Nevada's Eye on Capitol Hill.
I got my own iPod Touch and use my dad's login to get on gambling sites. Poker is the best, but I'm losing a lot. Since I'm too young to play, they're not allowed to keep the money, and my dad won't find out. That's right, isn't it?
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions, and all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
A family's presence in the hospital helps children heal faster and cope better. But children who need specialized medical care are often sent out of the Reno area for treatment. Costs can get unmanageable, and it can be difficult for families to accompany their sick child. The Travel for Treatment program, presented by Ronald McDonald House Charities Northern Nevada, gives parents travel assistance when a child's medical treatment is not available at a local hospital. Please contact us today for more information and to see how you can help. Donate online at rmhc-reno.org.
Want more federal news that affects Nevada, its businesses, and its residents? Then you need to subscribe to Nevada's Washington Watch newsletter, your sole source of online news direct from Washington, D.C. Visit joycecommunications.com and subscribe today.
And we are back with our closing segment of today's Eye on Washington. We have had as our special guest today Margo Wootan, the Director of Nutrition Policy for the Center for Science in the Public Interest. You know, Ms. Wootan, I thought we'd use this final segment letting you tell us what you think are the top 5 or so things that overweight and obese adults in Nevada and across the nation can do to get trimmer and sort of back to that fighting weight again.
The first thing I would look at is what you drink. Soda, sweet iced teas, and other sugary drinks are the #1 source of calories in Americans' diets and the only food directly linked to obesity. Next thing I would do is make half your plate fruits and vegetables. I know that can be hard to, think of it as that much fruits and vegetables, but gradually work your way toward a healthy plate.
What are they putting on there now? Starches?
A lot of starch and meat, and then a little side of vegetables. So make the vegetable interesting, find recipes, make it taste good.
Okay.
The next thing I would do is really rethink eating out. A lot of us think about eating out as if it's our anniversary, birthday, a splurge, and it's just Tuesday night. Use that calorie labeling, ask your restaurant for it, and try to shave off calories where you can. Oftentimes it's a lot easier than you think, and you can cut hundreds of calories by just simple swaps on the menu. The other thing is to ask supermarkets not to push you toward unhealthy choices. Ask them to take the candy out of the checkout. We go to pick up something at the drugstore, at the hardware store. We're not going there to get candy. And yet retail stores are pushing 200, 300 extra calories on us that we really didn't want. And get better information. The groups like the Center for Science and the Public Interest, we try to make it easy for people to make healthier choices, and we have everything from recipes to tips to articles to blog posts that can help people.
We're about out of time, but I just want to end on a real positive note. You've been kind of saying all along, the point is it's not too late ever, is it? To ward off that diabetes, sort of reverse some things that are already going on in the body. Even small weight losses can reduce your risk of diabetes and other diet-related diseases. Thanks for being here.
Thanks
and
for having
they've
me.
got just a plethora of information at the Center for Science in the Public Interest website, and that is at cspinet.org, cspinet.org. So got a lot of good stuff for you there, right?
Thank you.
Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
And that is it for this week's Eye on Washington, but we're always here for you, keeping Nevadans on top of all the federal matters that matter to you. You just go to our website, joycecommunications.com, and while you're there, check out all the federal issues that impact Nevada. Like us on Facebook and follow me on Twitter, and keep up with any shows you may have missed on our YouTube page. Thanks for joining us on Eye on Washington. I'm Marilee Joyce in Washington, D.C. Hope you have a good day today.